Thank you very much, Stephen. Well, a very good afternoon to you. Let's check in with your sports. The Bulls have an important Champions Cup meeting with Bordeaux Eagles at Loftus Versfeld Stadium this weekend, looking for a victory that will confirm their spot in the playoffs. This will be the Bulls' final pool match, and they need to put out a winning performance if they want to qualify for the last 16. Vuyo Macoba has more.
The Bulls have all to play for in their final Champions Cup pool match this weekend as they continue their quest for a place in the next round of the competition. The Bulls host Pool 1 leaders Bordeaux Eagles at Loftus Versfeld Stadium on Saturday afternoon, with their focus set on sealing a spot in the last 16. The Praetorians gave their playoff hopes a major boost in their previous outing by claiming a bonus point victory against the Bristol Bears in the third round last weekend. They produced one of their best performances this season and earned a crucial 31-17 win at Ashton Gate. Should they beat Bordeaux in their final round clash, they would likely finish in the top two of their pool. The third-placed Bulls have 10 points from 2 wins at home against Saracens and away to Bristol Bears, and need just one more point to qualify.
That was my message to them last week. It was a knockout game last week. We had to stay alive in the competition. And you actually asked me as well, what do you worry about losing a couple in a row? So it's no different. I think if you look at the nature of this competition, it's interesting. Their last score, Bristol against us, changes the point difference. Those last 2 scores that Saracens conceded against Bordeaux changes the points difference as well. So it just shows you how tight this competition is. Had they not scored there and Saracens hadn't conceded those 2 tries, then all we had to do was get a bonus point and win by about 5 points. Now we've got to win by 36 points. So it shows you how quickly it can change. So yeah, I think the nature of this competition, because it's so close. Look at La Rochelle on the weekend. When La Rochelle lost to the Stormers, they had to get 5 points. They had to win by a lot of points to stay alive. So I think what's happening now, the last weekend's all about knockout rugby. It's making sure you're alive.
Bordeaux have had a solid start to their Champions Cup campaign, winning all 3 of the pool matches. But this weekend they face off with the Bull side that is still unbeaten at home in this tournament. The host will be looking to maintain that at Loftus.
Well, altitude and heat, considering, if you consider last week in Bristol was freezing cold, and so you got to play the conditions. And there's no doubt that the altitude, everyone knows when you go to altitude, that's why top athletes go and train at altitude before Olympic Games. It's basically to make sure that they get as fit as possible. So altitude does play a massive, and it's something that you've got to put into your game. There's no use playing as slow as you can and not using altitude to your advantage. But the interesting thing is, they like to play quickly as well. So, it's not a case of we're going to take them to a place where they haven't been before, because they are probably, they're not, but they are. That's the team that plays the quickest. They've scored the most. I think they've scored 6.3 tries a game in all their games. So, they like to keep the ball alive and run from everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they play with the same strategy, considering they're playing at altitude.
Already 8 teams have qualified and 8 are to join them, as this weekend's final round of matches will determine which 16 sides go through to the playoffs. From the 4 pools of 6 teams, 4 qualify from each pool. So with 1 round to go, there is still everything to play for the remaining teams seeking a spot in the next round, including the Bulls. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Vuyo Macoba in Pretoria.